If you're looking for a dark, gripping, horror, existential, philosophical, sci-fi journey, I have got the film for you. Hi, my name is Jesus. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to talk about Aniara. Aniara is a 2018 Swedish science fiction film written and directed by Pella, Kågerman and Hugo, Liljia. The film is actually an adaptation of a 1956 poem of the same name by Harry Martinson. So Aniara is set in a dystopian future where Earth has kind of been ravaged by climate change. It's no longer livable in. Therefore, there's kind of like a mass migration from Earth to Mars. The film is set on the Aniara, which is a luxury spaceship that is actually taking passengers from Earth to Mars. Early into this routine trip, the spaceship veers off course, and what was initially meant to be a 3-week journey to Mars has become something that might last a few years, possibly beyond that. Once this happens, we really see the passengers struggling to cope with this new reality. The film's protagonist, played by Emily Garbers, works on the ship as a Mima Robin. She is in charge of a machine called the Mima. The Mima is essentially a kind of like relaxation meditation room. Once in this machine, they are flooded with images and memories of Earth, so nature, things that are calming and soothing to them. As the events of the film go on, the Mima starts to take kind of a more important role. One of the early kind of motifs that I found was that of capitalism and consumerism. The passengers on this luxury spaceship are definitely consumers, right? This is meant to be a 3-week journey, and yet there's malls, there's all these amenities for the passengers for this very relatively short journey. However, once their day of life completely changes by the ship veering off course for an indefinite amount of time, this sense of capitalism and consuming no longer really gives them meaning because there's nothing left to consume. In fact, after the initial panic of veering off course, not knowing when they're going to get to their final destination, the Mima machine is actually bombarded by passengers. This I kind of can see having two separate purposes. Firstly, following that kind of capitalism consumerist theme, the Mima and these images that it projects are kind of the only thing left for these passengers to consume. Even in this bleak and uncertain situation, we see how the passengers are still wanting to consume. Of course, secondly, it's the only real sensory imagery that they have left of the world that they left behind and the reality that they left behind, especially as we think about their new predicament that they're in. The film is divided into chapters which are defined by different jumps in time. So for example, we take a 3-week jump in time after the ship veers off course. However, then we jump into 3 years into the future, 4 years, 5 years, as we see how the passengers and our protagonist are adjusting to this new reality and what they're doing about their situation. So we see across this journey of time different instances of hope, panic, despair. We see that cults develop at some point as well. And you know I love a cult moment. What these progressions of time convey, I think, is the central theme of the film, which really revolves around the human condition, what it means to be human, particularly the human condition within an uncertain, precarious situation. There's definitely a sense of the metaphysical as well, especially with the Mima's growing popularity. It really is the only thing that gives the passengers on the spaceship a sense of relaxation, a sense of soothingness. Is soothingness a word? The horror in this film really lies in the very human predicament that the passengers are in, as they are having to continue living in this very bleak and uncertain situation. And I have to say, the film does a masterful job of painting space as this scary, eerie, extremely lonely and dreadful place. But at the same time, there's also a beauty portrayed within that. Out of these horror aspects, however, we really see a film which is very much about meaning and the meaning that humans make within crisis, extended isolation, and despair. It really demonstrates the extreme lengths that humans will go to keep hope alive, in a maybe hopeless situation, to find meaning in a maybe meaningless situation, and the human spirit's ability to carry on after tragedy. I also want to highlight the character of the astronomer, played by Anneli Martini, who offers amazing comic relief. She offers the sense of bluntness, acceptance, and realities within the situation, and is able to add kind of this comedic aspect to the dread and existential despair that we're seeing. I also can't help but connect the themes within Aniara to our current situation, especially when we're talking about isolation and crisis. Not to get too heavy, but many of us have had our way of life completely uprooted, and we've had to figure out how to make meaning and carry on within this not great situation. There's definitely a sense of tension between the hopelessness and uncertainty of their situation and the hope that the passengers and the crew as humans are trying to keep alive. Aniara did remind me a little bit of High Life, directed by Claire Denis and starring Robert Pattinson, in both kind of its subject matter and its concept. However, I did find Aniara to be a lot more thrilling, a lot more satisfying, and certainly a lot more cohesive in its plot, its themes, and its central message. Is that shady? The film is also masterful at being able to tell a story on a grand scale, asking difficult questions about humanity, the search for meaning, the search for hope in a bleak situation. However, it's also able to tell an extremely personal story about extremely personal struggles and extremely personal perseverance, searching for hope, searching for answers, searching for meaning. Its ending is haunting, reflective, and strangely beautiful. Visually, it's also stunning. As I said before, it paints space as this very bleak and scary setting, while also having some aspects of beauty within it. This is definitely not a big budget film, but it very much feels like a big budget film. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's just done so well. The special effects are incredible. In terms of score, I give Aniara a 9 out of 10. If you're looking to have a depressing night in and ponder some very deep existential questions, or is that just me? I highly recommend Aniara. Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to give me a thumbs up or maybe even subscribe. It would definitely mean a lot. But more importantly, please tell me how you felt about this film. Have you watched Aniara? And if so, did it fill you with that absolute sense of existential dread like it did with me? I would love to hear your comments, your thoughts, and if there's any other films you can think of that are kind of in the same vein of asking these big existential questions about humanity and meaning, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to check them out. Thank you. I hope you're all having a great day, and I hope you're all staying safe. Bye.